Welcome to Talking Heads on USA Global TV, starring the one and only wonderful Dr. Jacqueline. It's a prestigious place where world-class influencers and experts meet, and where you'll find the most trusted advisors and coaches for all things in life and business. Visit usaglobaltv.com to sign up for our newsletter, get the value you need, and be first in line to learn about events and giveaways and other valuable content. Connect with us. Email Dr. Jacqueline at usaglobaltv.com to talk about how you can become part of USA Global TV. That's USA Global TV, where the doctor is always in.
Hello and welcome to USA Global TV. We've got great news. We're now also on our own radio platform, so you can watch or listen wherever you are in the world. It's very exciting. Welcome. I'm Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Our show today is Talking Heads. If you're joining us for the first time and wondering what is a talking head is an expert who has been invited to this platform to share their expertise, their knowledge, and their experiences to help make us better personally and professionally. Our expert presenter today is joining us from New Zealand, which is so cool. I love saying that. And her name is Mariska du Preez. She is a transformation and leadership coach. She also is a co-host here on our platform. Our show together is Leadership of the Heart. She's a talking head, obviously, and she's an elevated listener. Let's welcome her to the program. Hello, how are you?
Hello, I am wonderful, and I am so happy to be joining you and everybody listening and watching today.
I'm so thrilled, and I saw you kind of dancing backstage. I love that. It's fun to come forward and share your knowledge with other people and really help people. So thank you so much for everything that you're doing.
Thank you so much for having this wonderful platform. And for all of you that haven't taken the opportunity yet or feel a little bit scared to maybe put yourself out there, please have a conversation with Dr. Jacqueline, and she will make sure there's bound to be something that would suit you to help you to get your brand out there, to actually get your voice out there, and to help others, because that is what this platform is all about, helping other people.
Thank you so much, Mariska. I appreciate that. It's all about education and entertainment. So I'm going to let you get to your presentation. I'm going to go backstage. Do you want your deck up now, or do you want to wait a minute?
Yes, please. You can roll the deck right in.
All right, here we go.
Okay, so today we are looking at the second lesson in our effective communication series, and our lesson today is building an emotional connection. So we're going to start this off firstly by looking at what we did in our last lesson. So in our last lesson, it was a little bit more of the heart of the conversation, looking at the meaning and the purpose and the value that we want to bring within the conversation that we are having. So being intentional, and that of course is our attention that energizes and our intention that transform, as Deepak also reminds us. So taking that into consideration, what we're going to do today is look at our emotional states and how we can help each other connect a little bit better. And to start us off, I want to actually tell you guys a story of something that happened not too long ago. So I am part of a group, and we do presentations on a regular basis. And during the presentations afterwards, I spoke with one of the other participants that also did presentations. And as you might know, when you're doing presentations, it can be quite nerve-wracking for the person doing the presentation because, well, all eyes are on us when we are presenting. So, of course, this person scans the room and have a look to see whether the things that they are discussing is landing with the rest of the group. And what they found is, for most people, they had some feedback that came back. So our nonverbal emotional feedback came back. There were smiles of varying degrees. And then as they were scanning the room, there was one person that almost, it felt like to them, it stopped them in their tracks. And this person had a very neutral, emotionally blank face. Now, I know this also happens in our workplace because we feel that it is a professional setting and to show emotion might not be the best way to go. Now, what happened to the person that presented is they immediately start going, oh, am I doing something wrong? Is there something that isn't quite landing on my presentation? What's going on? Because this one person is just absolutely not showing any emotion whatsoever. And that got me thinking about a study that they did on children. So this is very small children, and I want to actually share a video with you guys so we can have a look at that. So for some of us, that was a bit harder to watch than for others. And this is actually what happens in our workplace or in environments where we feel we don't want to show emotion. So when we're not showing emotion or we're not giving any feedback, whether it is positive or negative, anything, right? So having that still face, the other person, their inner kid, starts to get upset. We get upset and we physically feel upset. So as I mentioned during that presentation, it stopped the person in their tracks. And they felt, what am I doing wrong? So we immediately start questioning what we're doing, why we're not getting this feedback that we are so used to getting in general in any other social or family interactions that we have with other human beings. So I really want us to think about this when we go into the emotional connection, because if we show no emotion whatsoever, this is the effect we have on other people. And when they don't show any emotion, that's the effect that they have on us. So we're going to look at 3 different ways to actually build that emotional connection and see how we can do this a little bit better for ourselves, for our teams, and other people in our life and around us. So the first sort of area that I want us to concentrate on is our actual emotions, our own emotions. So what is going on for me during this conversation? What am I feeling, right? And an easy way to just check in with ourselves is to notice, is this conversation making me want to go and sort of hide and get smaller? Or is this conversation making me want to expand and almost jump into it? Is it making me excited? So just noticing one of those two elements within the conversation would give you a good idea whether you are feeling really engaged with the conversation, you really want to interact with the conversation more, or whether you want to disconnect to the conversation and maybe think about it or do something that might help you within this conversation. Now, I do understand in the workplace, sometimes we do have conversations that is not so fun. But first, noticing what is happening for us makes it a lot easier. And when we do have those conversations, when we feel like we want to shrink in a little bit, please do not go into the whole still face, because what's going to happen is the other person, their emotional response is definitely going to be negative. So they will definitely have a negative response. If we feel there's something that we don't want to show and we go all still, they're definitely going to know there's something up. Right. So that's the first bit. The second element that is connected to this is what emotion we see on that other person. So what might it be that they are displaying? Are they shrinking, or are they actually expanding? And that will give us a good idea whether this conversation is not so much fun for them for whatever reason it might be, or whether this is a very engaging conversation and they would like to explore it even further and deeper. So it gives us a good idea of what is going on emotionally for ourselves, as well as then for the other person. So this is one element of the three. Now, emotionally, we are whole human beings, right? We have a physical body, we have our emotions, we have our thinking, we have all these things happening for us, and we don't exactly split them up into bits and pieces. And that's why I want to have all three of these, they sort of work in conjunction with each other and not as separate bits. Yes, you can utilize them as separate ones if you want to, but normally it is more of a intertwined sort of collaboration that happens. So first is the emotional part. And then the next piece that I want to share with you guys is a study that was done by Arthur Aaron. And what he did is he looked at relationships. So he looked more into the romantic relationship space. And he brought two strangers together, right? And they would sit and have a conversation. And this is not any conversation they would have. They would have a conversation that consists of 36 questions that he actually put down. And they were to take the questions one after the other. Now, the questions, I just took a few of the questions out of his questionnaire, and they are not in order. So questions that they would ask each other would be things like, given a choice of anyone in the world, whom would you want to as a dinner guest? Right. Another question would be, what would constitute a perfect day for you? So what they did is they went through the questions in sequence, and each person had an opportunity to share their answer before, of course, moving on to the next question. And then after they finished all 36 questions, what would happen is they would be asked, what's the likelihood that you would actually go on a second or third date with this person. And in most cases, people went on more than one date after the questionnaire. So he found that we can build deeper emotional connections through these various questions that he had and that he asked throughout the process. So how does this then apply to us in our workspace, you might wonder? And how this might apply is, well, we don't necessarily want to take exactly the 36 questions because we don't want to build a that much of a personal or romantic type of relationship, but we do want to build a strong emotional connection and a strong relationship with our team members, with the people that we lead, and with everyone else around us within the organization. So some questions, taking the lead from him, that we might be able to use, and these are questions formulated by Vanessa von Edwards. So she does human sciences, and the questions that came from there was, what goal are you working on? So being interested in what this other person is aspiring to or what they want to be doing. Who is your professional role model? So it gives us a good idea of who they might be looking up to. What would a perfect work day look like for you? I mean, who won't love to know or answer the question of what a perfect work day would look like? Plus, if I'm a leader and I ask that to my team, I would get a few good hints into what their preferences might be and how I might help them to actually create an environment in which all of us can thrive better. So thinking of these questions, that basically leads us into our third element that we can use for emotional connection, which is for all those guys that love their tables and being a little bit more precise. Now, you can do this as a physical table, or you can do this in your head if you have enough mental capacity to keep all of the information in there. So say, for instance, I have a team or the people that I work with most, or the people that is most important within my organization that I really want to understand how to build this emotional connection with. So really being specific. So remember that intentionality, being intentional and identifying the people that I need this information on. So I'm not necessarily going to have it on, say, for instance, we have a company of 800 people. I don't want it on all 800 of them, but I do want it on everybody that I actually work with really closely on a daily basis, and those people that have key stakes in what it is that I'm doing. So the example that we have here is we have our columns. So we have a column for the name so that we know who it is. We have a column for the strengths, so their strengths that they're displaying on a daily basis, or maybe not so daily, but the strengths that they have in general, and then thriving environments. So what we're doing with this information is, say, for instance, we take Sarah. So Sarah is a strategic thinker, and she loves big picture thinking, and she's very action focused. So I know if I give Sarah a task and it has a lot of detail in it, or it's got a lot of detail that she needs to go through, Sarah will most probably not enjoy that task as much. But when I give Sarah something where she can think a lot more around the strategic plan or looking at how the different systems interact with one another, that might be something that she's really good at. Plus, then, of course, she is very action focused. So there will be some outcome or next steps, or something will come from whatever Sarah is working on. She might even implement them. And thriving environments for Sarah is collaborating with others. So she might enjoy brainstorming sessions. She might enjoy working with different stakeholders within the different departments. So she might be a little bit of a liaison for us as within our team, to help us get other information from different departments, as this is something that she's really good at, and it's also an environment that she thrives in. On the other hand, we might look at John, and John is very detail orientated and he's very systematic. So he'll go through something point by point by point, and he'll look at every single detail within that. And John also don't love working in big groups or with a lot of other people. John needs some space, right? So because we know this of John, we will give John tasks that is more geared towards his strengths, and also an environment that is more conducive for him to actually bring out those strengths. So by being able to do this, playing to our strengths, as well as setting ourselves up in an environment that would help us to thrive, we build that connection. We help our team members to feel safe in the space where they are operating. And that psychological safety within our teams and within our spaces also helps us to connect, have better emotional connections. So thinking about not only the physical communication that we are interacting in directly on a day-to-day basis, but also thinking about our environment that we are creating and how we are utilizing our strengths as well as our team's strengths in order to make sure that we set ourselves up to have effective communication and to have it in such a way that it actually supports everybody in the team. So those are the three main elements that we are discussing in today's section on building and creating that emotional connection within our workspace. And of course, we can use this at home, we can use this in our communities, and anywhere else where you have a whole bunch of people come together. So this is quite versatile. We will tweak them a little bit, like we had to tweak Arthur's research within the relationship space to suit our work environment. We can also then tweak some of these more work-related things to suit our community or our family environment. So this is loads of fun to try out, and I would absolutely suggest when you think about the questions that we did in the second bit, you don't need to do all the questions in one sitting or on one day. You can break them up into smaller bits and pieces. You can even do one question in a week or in a month. So you can explore and try to connect a little bit more deeply with your fellow human beings. So that brings us to the end of our lesson today. And to get hold of me and connect with me, or if you have any questions on the lessons or want to know more, you can get hold of me via my email address, which is mariska@journey2, that's the number 2, discover.com, or alternatively, please connect with me on LinkedIn. You can write a small little intro message when you connect, so I know who it is and where you saw me. Just makes it a little bit easier. I'm not a fan of the generic connection messages, because then I don't have any idea who you are and where we actually know each other from. So yeah, that's a little bit of a tip. See, another effective communication tip there on getting some LinkedIn connections. And that is it for me today.
Another excellent lesson. Thank you. Thank you. That was kind of hard to watch that video.
It is a very, very difficult video to watch, especially because as the little one is getting upset when mom is not giving any reactions, the same thing is actually happening to us too. So you can just imagine if that happens to them, how often it can happen to us in our professional settings where people think they should not show any emotion.
Very true. You know, a quick personal story. I was in a relationship with someone who will remain nameless. And the person, when they would get mad, I think I told you this before, they just would not speak. You could stand in front of them, you could do anything. They would have no facial expression whatsoever for days on end.
Yeah, I can imagine that would be really, really tough. I mean, that poor little one was exposed to it for 2 minutes, right? Days? Oh, man. Yeah.
Yes. Wasn't easy. And of course, the relationship didn't last.
Needless to say.
So, Mariska, I would love for you to share with our audience also the work that you do outside of this platform and some of the wonderful things that you have going on.
Ooh, okay. So, work that I'm doing outside of this platform. So, of course, I do one-to-one coaching. So, I've got quite a few coaching clients. I still have 2 spots open at the moment. So, if anybody is interested in coaching, that is something that I do outside of this platform. And then I also have quite a few other interests and connections that I am weaving throughout. So currently I am serving on the ICF Leadership Board here in New Zealand. So that is helping me with some connections within. Oh, thank you. Some connections within the coaching community and also helping our coaching community to grow and thrive in that way. And I really enjoy connecting with other people and seeing how we can all grow and better ourselves. So that's always exciting to me. And then I am also starting on my book. I have been sort of pondering and wrestling with it for some time, trying to figure out what it is and how it is that I want to get all of this done. So I am happy to announce the first page has now been written, which is a good start for me because that first page took quite a while to actually get done.
Wow, I've got to come back and congratulate you for all this great news.
Thank you.
Would you like to share on what topic you're writing?
Well, the topic that I'm writing on at the moment is leadership and our experience within that. So I'm looking specifically more into the identity and elements around our identities that we come up with throughout life and how it can help and hinder us.
Sounds fascinating. I love it. And one final question before we close out this show. So during the pandemic, many people, and we've interviewed a lot of them, decided to pursue coaching. I know you and I pursued it before the pandemic. What's the value of getting certified?
Okay, so the big thing about coaching is it is an unregulated industry. So when I say unregulated, if you think about a doctor or a psychiatrist, they have a regulated process that they need to go through. There's a board, there's exams, they need to keep their skills in check and all sorts of things that they need to do, even within the engineering environment. So law, any or most other occupations have some form of regulation. Now, in coaching, we don't have any regulation, which means we need to self-regulate. And a way of self-regulating is there's a couple of different institutions and bodies that is helping with that regulation. Now, ICF, that's the International Coach Federation, that's one such a body. I know that there is the Coach and Mentor, I can't remember if they're association. It's in Europe. So there's quite a few different ones. ICF is one of the bigger ones. And what actually benefits us from being certified and within a specific organization such as ICF is it helps us with the regulation, right? And ensuring that we get proper training and have a system that we can work according to, that we actually see value from. So yes, I mean, if you really want, there's a lot of benefit in also just going to talk to a lamppost. And sometimes that's all we need. But having a coach that is trained properly and understands how the system works and how we actually influence the person that we are interacting with is really good, because then you know that you are taken care of. They take into consideration things such as confidentiality. They take into consideration things such as biases, our own biases, the biases that our clients might have. And they also take into consideration things such as ethics. So because of all of those elements, going to a coach, I would highly suggest, as a minimum, at least understanding where they got qualified and whether they are belonging to a specific federation or industry recognized body, in order to make sure that you will actually get good quality coaching and not have, well, a person that took a half an hour coaching degree and now call themselves a coach.
I love that. And you get to go through a certification process and meet great people like you. That's how we met.
Yes, that is how we met. So, and there is so many different, if you are at all interested in pursuing a coaching degree or want to get more information, the ICF website is a really great place to start. And they actually have a list with all the schools that is ICF accredited. So you can definitely find a school near you, or even online, because that's the way that we actually studied, that would be able to serve your needs within the coaching that you want to pursue.
And I know I said that was the last question, but if someone wants to take this route, and of course not a paid spokesperson, you're not a paid spokesperson, how long does it normally take to get certified?
Well, it depends on what route it is that they take. And I know as of the end of this year on the ICF side, they're changing some of the certification processes. So normally what it would be is you have a certain amount of hours that you need to have physical training. And then you also have a certain amount of hours that you need to physically coach, because coaching is a practice, right? You need to be able to show that you have coached people and actually practiced the skill, because you become more skillful as you practice it more and more. So the minimum qualification for ICF is 100 coaching hours. So that's ACC qualification. So the minimum to have ACC qualification is 100 hours. And I'm talking under correction. I think it's 125 training hours. And then you have some mentoring hours, so that you have somebody that can guide you on how you are physically coaching, which is also a practice me and Dr. Jacqueline relished in during our coaching experience. And yeah, then from there, once you did your application, it can take anything from about, I think, 2 months to 6 to actually get your certificate. And then after that, of course, upholding the studies and credentialing also has a few elements to that.
That was so comprehensive. Thank you.
I try.
You did a great job. You succeeded. Fantastic. So, Mariska, that concludes our show for today. I'm looking forward to next week. Would you like to share what the topic is?
Ooh, so for next week, we are talking about the 3 keys to clear and succinct communication. So we now know the heart of communication. We know how to make an emotional connection. And next, we are going to look at how to be clear and succinct in our communication. Because as you guys might know, within the corporate environments and our workspaces, we don't always have time for very long stories. We want them nice and short and to the point. So we are going to look at how to do that in order to make our communication more effective.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. And I just want to leave our audience with this. This just shows you how professional Mariska is. I'm just going to sort of, what's the expression? Pull back the cloak or the... So the last 2 weeks, our shows are back to back, and we're running a little bit late. And I didn't even bring you on stage. I just went right to live, and boom, there you were. So you didn't need any instructions, no overview. Bam, you were ready like a true professional. So thank you so much for that.
Well, it does help that I have been doing this for a little while.
Yes, you have it. How long has it been actually since we started with A Better You?
Ooh, we started with A Better You
in February. It was in February a year ago.
Yes, last year we started with A Better You. So then I did quite a few shows on A Better You, and then we changed it to become Talking Heads. And I think we officially started Talking Heads in January this year.
We did, but we had some Talking Heads last year. So if you go over to our playlist, look for Talking Heads 2022. But you've been doing this for over a year. So
yes.
Bravo.
Yes.
I'm going to take vacation and you can run this platform for me.
Well, for the amount of shows that you do, I do think that you need to set up something for a vacation.
I am. I actually announced today that I'm planning on going to London in November. And I've been named as an esteemed judge for Woman of Heart Awards. And I actually was honored with an award myself, which I have right here on the wall. And so now I'm going to be a judge. So they have an official event in London, and I'm going to go and broadcast for the week from there. I haven't made any plans, but that's what I'm putting out to the universe.
Oh, wow. That is
Can you come
fantastic.
to London? Wouldn't that be fun?
Oh, it would. It would be so much fun.
So much fun. Well, we'll have to talk about it. How far is London from you?
Almost as far as South Africa from me, just a little bit up. So that would be, I think, flight-wise, about 36 odd hours, depending on.
Oh my gosh, that's not happening. Okay. You are way out there.
The thing is, it's not so bad as long as I'm not going only for one day, because then I will definitely not make it. If it is a week or preferably a little bit longer than that, it gives me time to actually recalibrate the system. Because traveling that far, I have found that jet lag is quite exhausting.
You're a trooper. For me, if I hear over 5 hours, I'm like, oh, I don't think so.
No, it's a bit of a long flight. So, and what happened to me the previous time when I actually went back to South Africa. So we started the flight in New Zealand, and this is a while back. So we started the flight in New Zealand, and I think it was about 6 o'clock at night. I got to Australia, and we had a this is a little bit shorter than that, a 6-hour wait window.
Oh.
So it's basically in the middle of the night, right? And there's no place to sleep. I can't book into a hotel because then I need a visa. So you're stuck on the airport on those horrible little benches that you normally just sit on for a couple of hours and then you can move on. So I sort of semi-slept, but you don't really sleep because I'm so scared of missing the flight. And it's the first time I'm traveling on my own. So it was a little bit nerve-wracking. Then from there, we flew to Singapore. From Singapore, we went to... Where did we went to next? I think we went to Dubai. And then from Dubai, we went to South Africa. On the plane itself, I had the little stickers where you say, okay, if you want food, just wake me up, right? So I put those ones up, and I only woke up when they gave me my food. And other than that, I slept straight through all the way back to South Africa. So I think I slept about a good day. And when I got in South Africa, it was about 6 o'clock at night again there. So got there. My parents came to get me at the airport, went to their place, took a shower because it feels horrible after such a long flight. Took a shower, got in bed and slept until about 10 o'clock the next morning.
You're like the perfect passenger. I'm the one who's up the entire time. Just one movie after another.
That's my husband. That's him. He cannot, for the life of him, sleep on the plane. I was out. I was totally out. I couldn't keep myself awake.
That's a good thing. I haven't flown since February of 2020. So wow. How about you?
I haven't flown actually from before then. I think the last time I flew was in 2018, and that was just within New Zealand. So I haven't been on an airplane for quite some time.
I haven't either. We've got to get back out there.
Yeah, we definitely need to do that.
All right, we're going to close out for now. It's been so much fun. I could just hang out and chat with you, but my feet are going, you've got to sit down. You've been here since 8:45 a.m.
We are numb now. Please let us rest.
And by the way, one of our other talking heads, Jean Keegan-Daly, she was on right before this. She's given some suggestions of stress soothers and things that you can do. So one of the things she mentioned on another show was taking a tennis ball and actually putting it under your foot and, leaning forward and moving around.
Yeah.
And she said, if you can really bear it, not her exact words, but try a golf ball. So I moved right to the golf ball because of the standing so long. And it actually didn't even hurt. I thought, I'm really in bad shape now. It doesn't even hurt. My feet are numb, I think. But yeah, so we're going to say goodbye for now. We're coming back tomorrow. I'll just give the schedule quickly. We start off with What's Trending, yes, and that's with Kathy Fulton and our guest, Ashley Smith, and that's at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, which is 3 o'clock British Summer Time. And then we go right into Talking Heads with Kathy Fulton. That's at 11 a.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. British Summer Time. And then the Corner Bookstore, we have our guest, Robert French, and our co-host is Diane Floyd-Beam. Then we have the Film and Music Show. We have a special guest who just booked, so I'm not going to announce it yet. We're going to create the broadcast and then announce it. And then we have The Wise Ones with Red O'Loughlin, our co-host, and Tina Greenbaum is our guest, followed by Red O'Loughlin as our talking head. So very exciting.
Very full show tomorrow.
Yes, it's a full day. So, all right, we're saying goodbye for now, but please do join us again next week, and you can join me tomorrow with the rest of those shows that I mentioned. So thank you so much. Bye, everyone. Bye, Marissa.
Bye.
Bye.